So this morning we're doing a little more vigorous flow to get our blood circulating, and then we're going to take a little bit longer shavasana at the end to help restore our parasympathetic nervous system. So feel free to stay in shavasana or whatever position, posture that you like for final relaxation. Also a block or a wall, if we're going to do, we could do legs up the wall, or some options there. Also, you could do legs up a chair. You could lay on your back and just put your feet against the back of the chair if it isn't moving, or bend your knees and let your lower limbs rest on the chair, but keep the hips down and knees up so that we're getting that rest. So we have flow today. We're going to start standing for our flow today. And before we start, we'll go ahead and stand, find your mountain pose. And then once we get to mountain, placing a hand on our belly and a hand on our heart and just closing our eyes and taking some deep breaths in and out. And I want to read a quote while we're breathing to kind of just set the tone for class today. This is by Arundhati Roy. And Arundhati says, historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between this world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our databanks and dead ideas, and our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us. Or we can walk through lightly with little luggage, ready to imagine another world and ready to fight for it. So in our practice today, we're thinking about what do we want to take with us from this time that we're in? What do we want to let go of? What are we willing to get rid of in our lives that is going to get rid of our stress and our anxiety? So just taking some deep breaths here in mountain. And then when we're ready, shifting our weight from side to side. Feeling the feet on the floor. Today's probably also going to be a little bit of puppy yoga. Yesterday I was practicing and he was all over me, so we'll see how it goes today. Rocking from side to side, feeling the floor underneath us as our weight shifts side to side. And then back to front. Coming back to center, closing our eyes, and maybe letting our body make small circles. Seeing how far can we go before our balance kicks in and holds us in place and prevents us from falling. And then switching direction. Coming back to center. And then letting our hands turn palm forward, opening up our shoulders. So today we want to think about opening up our lungs. And we want to maximize the amount of lung space we can achieve. Inhaling, and as we exhale, letting go. Here's the blanket. Okay, here you go. Here's the blanket for you. And then preparing to move to some moonflowers. So turning along the long edge of our mat or towel, opening up our toes and inhaling, reaching up, 5-pointed star, and then exhaling as we come down into moonflowers. And maybe if we're spending a lot of time here, focusing on opening up our shoulder blades and really drawing the elbows down and back, almost trying to touch our elbows behind us today, just so we're really opening up our chest and our heart. And then moving towards some sunflowers, maybe placing hands on the thighs as we hinge forward, finding our flat back. Letting go of our competition and just seeing what are we capable of today. Maybe pushing ourselves a little bit, but knowing that the benefits of that circulation that we're going to receive is so much greater because of it. And just seeing what are we capable of today. And we can move through either moonflower or sunflower, whichever is feeling better. You get one more breath here. And then stepping to the top of our mountain, finding mountain, standing tall, and moving into a chair flow. Inhaling up and exhaling as we sit back, pulling in our belly, our knees still over our feet, our knees still hip distance apart. And whatever arms feel good today, maybe coming to heart center, maybe reaching out, maybe making circles, listening to our body. Taking one or two more breaths here. And then holding our chair for a moment. And we're going to take a flow down from chair, hinging at the hips and reaching our hands behind us. Inhaling and then exhaling as we come back into chair. And we can extend the legs as we inhale, exhaling as we sweep back forward. We're building heat. Taking one more breath here, coming back into chair. And then as we inhale, straightening out, finding our mountain again, rolling our shoulders back and down, and maybe taking a few shoulder rolls. Feeling that closing and then opening of our lungs and heart. And coming back, away back and down. Preparing to take a forward fold, inhaling as we reach up to the sky. Exhaling, hinging at our hips, diving down to the floor, softening our knees and stepping back onto our hands and knees. Finding a flat back, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. And then moving through some cow and cat. Inhaling as we arch through the back. Exhaling as we tuck the pelvis and pull up, rounding through the spine. And then making any small movements in the spine that feel good. Maybe shaking our hips side to side or twisting shoulder towards a hip. Whatever's feeling good in the back, or maybe bending our elbows, moving through the upper back. Finding something that is going to help make us more mobile, more fluid in our spine. Imagining that we're like a snake in the water, swimming from side to side, or moving around. And then pressing our hips back, finding our child's pose. Or we're going to take a flow from child's pose to kneeling plank. Reaching our palms wide, opening up our fingers, inhaling as we bring shoulders over hips and our hips down low, finding kneeling plank. Exhaling as we come back to child's pose. So at whatever pace that we're breathing, that we're working, inhaling forward and then exhaling back. Warming up all those muscles. And the next time we come forward, we have a choice, an option to bend our elbows towards our knees just a little bit and do a mini push-up. Come back up and then exhale back to child's pose. Inhaling forward, maybe taking that mini push-up down and up and exhaling back. We're not coming all the way to the floor, just till our elbows are right by our side. So we're making a 90-degree angle. We'll switch it off. Taking one more flow back and forth here. Finding that angle and then pressing back up. Coming back to child's pose, tucking our toes, pressing our heels down and finding our downward dog, pedaling at our feet. And then finding that length. Can we push down through our shoulders and think about opening up our heart, pressing our heart towards our feet, towards the floor. And then pressing both heels down and up. Once we're in our down dog, bending the knees toward the floor and then extending them back long. Finding as much length as we can through our upper body and through our lower body. Taking one more fly through this. And then walking our feet into our hands. Softening our knees. Inhale as we circle sweep the arms back into mountain. And exhaling down, rolling the shoulders back and down. And just taking a moment. What are we thankful for today? What do we want to help cultivate as we keep growing in this isolation that we're in? And then moving through our first series of sun salutations. So we have options on our sun salutation. The first time through, we're going to do a modified version. Feel free to stay there. Or the second time through, we'll add another standing option. So inhaling, reaching up to the sky, palms together. Exhaling as we circle, sweep our arms, hinging at the hips. Stepping back with our right foot and setting our right knee down. Inhaling, find our punch. Pressing our hips down. Exhaling as we lower our hips down. Bring our back, knee back, pressing back. Inhaling as we press forward into kneeling plank, and then exhaling as we lower down, hover, and then with an inhale, pressing up into a cobra, full cobra. Exhaling back to child's pose. Inhaling as we bring our right foot forward. Pressing our hips down and then taking a breath in and up. Exhaling down, framing our right foot, tucking our left foot and stepping in, hands on our shins, inhaling halfway up. Exhaling down, soften our knees, circle, sweep our arms up, and exhaling in a chair. For our next sun salutation, either staying with this version on our knee or keeping it standing, setting back with the right foot, inhaling as we come into our lunge. Exhaling as we frame the left foot, stepping back with the left foot, finding down dog or child's pose. Inhaling as we come into plank, shoulders over hands. Exhaling as we lower down, and then inhaling as we press up, release our toes and lift our knees for up dog, or come into cobra. Tuck the toes, press the hips back to child's pose or down dog. Inhaling as we bring the right foot forward. Bringing our breath in, coming into a lunge. Exhaling down, stepping in with the left foot. Coming up halfway. Exhale, we soften our knees, making a big circle up into the sky. Exhaling into chair. And inhaling back into mountain. Taking a moment to feel our heartbeat. We did 2 of these today. If you're feeling at this time, at any time, that you need a little more energy, the more sun salutations you do, the higher your energy will be. So it's a practice that we can go over and over to help increase our personal energy. So just keeping that in mind. Taking a breath here and then moving into lateral flexion. Inhaling as we reach up to the side. We can either keep our left hand on our hip or reach down as we reach overhead. Exhaling as we come back down and then switching sides. Inhaling as we reach up. Either hand on our hip or hand by the side, flowing from side to side. Listening to our breath. Whoever has their mic on, if you could please turn it off. Taking one more breath to either side. And then lacing our fingers behind us, pressing our palms back and opening for chest expansion. Opening through the heart, expanding our lungs. How far back can we get our shoulders? Open through the heart. And either staying here or pulling into the belly, and today just hinging halfway, bringing our hands overhead. So seeing where we feel that, and if that feels okay, we can stay here or we can stay tall. Feeling that opening, wherever we feel more opening in the chest is where we want to be. Taking one more breath here, and then exhaling as we release the arms down, maybe taking a shoulder roll. And then setting up for warrior one, stepping back with our right foot, planting our heel down, opening up our hips, and then turning our shoulders forward as we inhale up. Exhale as we sink down over our front foot. When we peek down, we can see our big toe. And maybe today, taking a bow of gratitude, inhaling here. And then as we exhale, hinging forward, bringing our arms behind us, interlacing our fingers, pressing them towards our toe and opening through our chest here. So we're in a nice long lunge. And we can either stay here and hold here, feeling that heat, or flow this, inhaling back up, exhaling as we hinge forward. So finding any variation of this warrior one that feels better. Maybe it feels good to have the challenge of holding that, feeling the heat in the thighs. Taking one more breath here, and then inhaling as we come back up to warrior one, exhaling as we turn our left foot open up through warrior two. Gazing over our right hand, opening up the lungs and heart. What are we going to carry with us to this new world when we are allowed to go back out into it? What things do we want to bring with us? Taking a breath here. And as we exhale, hinging forward towards side angle. Finding any variation of side angle, either with our arms straight overhead and our elbow resting on our thigh, or opening up, stacking the arms. Taking that upper arm, and as we inhale, reaching forward, exhaling as we come behind us, closing the circle. Moving the fluid through the hands and the arms. Taking one more circle in this direction and then switching directions. Inhaling as we come up, around, and exhaling as we reach back up. Finding one more breath here. And then as we inhale, rolling all the way back, bringing our left hand behind us and our right hand overhead, finding a reverse warrior. Either letting our hand rest on our thigh or behind our low back. We also have the option to lift the left heel. Taking one more breath here, dropping that heel down and unwinding back to warrior two. Taking an inhale, hinging toward our hand, finding that length, and then extending our leg long, exhaling as we drop the hands and find triangle. And to relieve our anxieties and improve our digestion, we're going to add a twist to triangle today. So either staying here, or as we exhale, bringing our hands together, and then on an inhale, opening up the back arm. Twisted triangle. And we can flow our twisted triangle. Inhaling as we open, exhaling as we close. Coming back into a regular triangle and then softening our knee, inhaling as we come back into warrior two. Lifting our back heel, inhaling as we sweep overhead. Frame our right foot. Step back into down dog. And take any variation of a Vinyasa flow. So we can either stay in down dog, we can be in child's pose, or we can move through half a sun salutation. Coming into any form of plank, exhaling down to hover, inhaling up, and then returning to down dog wherever we are. Inhaling as we lift our left foot up. Exhaling as we bend the knee. Inhaling as we extend and exhaling as we sweep it through our hand. Inhaling as we come up, stepping in with the left foot, right foot, whichever leg is behind us. Finding our warrior one, sinking into the left knee. And finding that same flow. Taking an inhale, exhaling as we lengthen the spine, hinging forward. Inhaling back up. So choosing whichever option, maybe we're holding this. Maybe we're adding an interlaced fingers and opening through our hearts. Taking one more flow here. Inhaling back up into warrior one. As we exhale, opening up the right foot, opening up the arms and finding our warrior two. Gazing over our left hand. Taking a few breaths here and feeling that pull between our fingertips, between our feet. Feeling strong and powerful. Taking one more breath here and then inhaling forward, finding our side angle. Stacking our arm overhead, either letting our elbow rest on our thigh or opening up. And then taking an inhale, reaching overhead, exhaling as we close our circle. Opening up our shoulder and our heart. And then moving in the opposite direction. Taking one more breath here. Coming back to open as we exhale, hinging back. Coming through warrior two, coming to our reverse warrior. Left hand overhead, right hand either on our thigh or behind us. And the option to lift the left heel up. Where do we feel warrior, reverse warrior in our body? Taking one more breath, exhaling as we drop the hip and unwind back through warrior two. Taking a big reach, inhaling forward, reaching toward our left hand, straightening out our left knee, and exhaling as we come down to triangle. Moving into our flowing twisting triangle or just holding twisting triangle. Taking a breath in, exhaling as we bring our hands together. Inhaling as we reach the opposite arm up behind us. Exhaling down. Inhaling and open. Feeling that twist. Taking one more twist through either side. Coming back to triangle and then bending the left knee, inhaling as we unwind back to warrior two. Lifting our right foot and turning our right hand up. Inhaling as we sweep overhead, frame our left foot and step back into down dog. And take any variation of a Vinyasa flow that feels good. We can move through them, or maybe if we're feeling a lot of heat, taking child's pose. Returning to down dog. Inhaling as we bring our left foot up to the sky, bend the right knee, open up the hip. Exhaling as we extend long, taking a breath in. And then sweep the left foot back, so right foot back by the hands. Inhaling as we come up, and we're going to exhale, opening all the way to warrior two. Turning our left foot parallel. Taking a breath in warrior two. And then lifting our left heel, sinking down into a lunge. So knees and shoulders all facing the side, releasing our fingertips behind us, and then hinging forward, finding a lunge with a humble warrior upper body. Where do we feel that heat? And you could always bring a hand on the floor for extra balance. Taking an inhale, unhinging back to upright. Stepping in with our feet hip distance apart. Exhaling as we release into our mountain. And then switching our stance, stepping back with the opposite foot. Sinking into our warrior two. And then lifting the heel, lowering down into the lunge. So we're keeping our front knee over our foot, our back heel is up. We're tucking that knee beneath us and then extending long behind us, opening through the heart. Which side is stronger? Acknowledging that there are differences right to left. Inhaling as we unwind back upright. And exhaling as we turn, opening up the toes along the long edge of the mat. Inhale up and take a moonflower or a sunflower. And if we are really hot, breathing with a lion's breath. Sticking our tongue out to release some heat. If we're not hot, don't do lion's breath. We're just getting rid of heat. Okay, one more breath here. And then stepping back into our mountain, rolling our shoulders back and down. Taking a big breath in. And hinging, stepping back with the left foot, opening up into our warrior two. We're going to lift the left heel, finding that same lunge but tall. Prepare to move into warrior three. So shifting our left leg up off the floor and our weight into the right foot. Maybe we're keeping our toe down, or maybe we're hinging upright. With our toe pointed to the floor, we could use a block if we like. We can extend our arms. We can even just let our fingertips rest on the floor. Notice if our hip is opening, we want to turn it down. So our toes are pointed down, our heel is up. Finding that nice long straight line. Inhaling here. Exhaling as we hinge back to upright, bring the foot together. Woo, coming back into mountain. Closing our eyes. Letting our heart rate just resettle. Our blood flow distribute equally between our right and left sides. And then doing the same thing on the other side, stepping back with the right foot, inhaling up, sinking into our warrior two, and then lifting the right heel. Inhaling as we hinge forward, finding our warrior three. Toe down, we can reach down, we can reach out, we could use a block. For me, my right leg is never as strong as my left in terms of balance. It's a very interesting thing to notice between our right and left side, the differences. Taking one more breath here. Exhaling as we bring the foot back underneath us, hinge back and upright. And exhaling as we release down. Opening our shoulders, our lungs. Taking a breath. Finding our balance. And then taking a big breath in, hinging forward. We're going to find a forward fold and then work our way to a downward facing dog. So we're going to be here for a little bit. You have lots of options. You could drop elbows and be on shoulders here. You could also use a chair. I'm backwards, but if this was the chair in front of me, I could draw my elbows to here and use a chair for support and do all my downward dog work behind me. We're going to lift the right leg up, finding three-legged dog. And then as we exhale, bringing shoulders over hands and knee into the right side. Inhaling, lift. Exhaling as we come back down. Taking a few breaths like this. And if this is feeling good, and we're liking this challenge, finding this up, the next time our knee is in, we're going to extend that right foot through us. Open up, drop the left heel, open up the left hand, and find falling triangle. Inhaling as we come back down, drawing our knee in, and then extending our hip back, coming into pigeon pose. Hands on the floor, our hips are evenly pushing down to the floor. If we have a block, we can put it behind the right cheek. Support our hips, just opening up with our hips. And either sitting tall or coming down to the floor, wherever we feel this hip opening in a comfortable way, that's feeling good. Hip opening gives us lots of relief, lots of emotional release. Walking our hands forward, tucking our back foot, and returning our right foot behind us, coming back to down dog. Pedaling out our feet for a moment, if that feels good. And then returning to our down dog, lifting our opposite leg up. Inhaling as we come shoulders over hands. Exhaling back up. I said that backward. Exhaling forward, inhaling up. And then the next time our left knee comes in, extending it through, dropping our right heel, turning and opening our right arm, fallen triangle. Taking a deep breath, inhaling as we roll back, bringing our left knee in, and then lowering our hips down, finding our pigeon on this side. Maybe using the block underneath us, finding that space that the hip is opening, and wherever we want to be with our upper body. Taking a moment to exhale and release. Taking one more breath here, inhaling back up. And then if there's a block underneath us, we're moving in, and we're going to drop down onto our hip. Bring our feet sole to sole. Stack our vertebrae, sit tall. Take a big breath in and exhale as we hinge forward, bringing our head towards our feet. Challenging. Get our blood flowing. Taking one more breath here, and then inhaling back to upright. Exhaling as we extend our legs long. So we're going to find staff position. And we just did all this inversion work. Now we're going to help our muscles release a little bit. So making fists with our hands, just tapping our legs. Anywhere that feels good along major muscles. And we want to keep nice and tall. Giving ourselves taps. Keeping that tapping going. Flexing through the feet. And then doing an arm. And this is gentle tapping. I'm not like smacking myself. I'm just tapping, oxygenating those muscles, releasing some of that tension, switching sides. And then placing our hands behind us with our fingers pointed towards our feet, pressing up and opening the shoulders, and maybe setting our palms down and feeling a little bit of a heart opener here, lifting our chin up. And seeing, can we keep this same openness and then come all the way up? Feeling that openness through our chest as we sit tall. Taking one more breath here. And then releasing our feet. Finding a comfortable, easy seated. Sukhanasana, feet are crisscross, sitting tall. And doing our same tapping, we're going to do it on our collarbone. And you can use either knuckles or I like the butterfly tap, hooking thumbs. And just tapping on the collarbone and closing our eyes for a moment. And as we tap, letting go of our stress, letting go of our anxiety, and celebrating the hard work we just did. It feels good to get our heart beating, to feel our blood pumping and circulating through the body. Coming back to center and then releasing our hands on our knees, sitting nice and tall. Shifting our weight back into the backs of our hips and maybe rocking side to side, grabbing the backs of our thighs. We're coming into boat. And maybe our boat today is just toes on the floor, leaning back, shoulders away back and down. Or maybe we're bringing it up, or maybe we're reaching out or extending long. Any variation of boat that feels good. And we're working through the body, the belly is engaged. So good, breathing. Taking one more breath here and then coming back to upright, grabbing our shins, stacking our vertebrae, sitting tall. Crisscrossing our legs. And whichever leg is on bottom, we want to try to set the top knee as much as we can on top of it, wherever that might be, and let our hips both be down on the floor. So finding that both hips are down. If we're lifting up, maybe we want to open that up a little bit more so we can get both hips down. Taking a breath in and exhaling as we reach our fingertips as far away, hinging forward, bringing our head towards our knees. Inhaling as we come up and then placing whichever foot is on, knee is on top, placing that foot down and either giving that knee a hug or bringing our opposite elbow to the outside of the knee, twisting through the spine as we come up. So any variation of this, and we want to feel this in our back as we twist. Taking one more breath here, unhinging as we turn back to center, and then switching feet, finding our opposite leg on top, both hips down, wherever that happens comfortably, sitting tall, inhaling up, exhaling as we hinge forward, bringing our nose toward our knees. Inhaling as we come back to upright, and then planting that foot on the floor, finding our tall vertebrae so that knee comes up, it's no longer down, and then twisting through the spine, either bringing the elbow over the knee or grabbing and giving ourselves a hug and getting that nice spinal twist in. Inhaling as we come back to center. And releasing the feet, we're going to make our way down onto the floor. Sitting up for legs up the wall. So either with our feet against the wall, and we can start on one side like this. If my booty's up against the wall, bringing my feet up 1, 2, or with our legs on a knee on a chair, or with a block underneath our hips, bringing our knees in and pressing our feet up, and just opening up our hands, palm to the ceiling, palm to the sky, and closing our eyes. This is our chance to lower our blood pressure, to lower our heart rate, to release all the good endorphins. All those good hormones that make us feel happy. Some dopamine. And if we still would like a little extra challenge, we could take this into a shoulder stand, removing the block from underneath us, and then bringing our knees in toward our head and walking our hands up around the backs of our hips, bringing our knees into our head, and when we're ready, extending our feet up overhead. I'm gonna fix my pants. Bringing our feet up overhead, finding a nice straight line, or flexing through the feet and bringing our toes toward the floor, working toward plow. So any variation, these are all doing the same thing. It's just a question of what feels good today and feels right today. Maybe we need a little extra challenge, or maybe we're just not. Maybe we just need to de-stress a little bit. So finding whichever one feels best today. Taking one more breath here, and then gently making our way back to the floor. If we're on a wall, rolling to one side. If we're on our block, bringing our feet to the floor, and then removing the block. Opening up our feet wide against the edges of our mat and letting our knees fall together. Taking some deep breaths here. And then setting up for any version of final relaxation. Maybe our knees resting together is good. Maybe we want a supine butterfly. Maybe we find our shavasana here. And as we are melting into the floor and relaxing, imagining there are clouds that we can see overhead, and watching one cloud come overhead, and as we exhale, letting it pass by us. Inhaling as the next cloud comes up overhead. As we quiet our minds, watching these imaginary clouds. Maybe they have shapes that are important to us. Slowly coming back into awareness of our body. Making any small movements that we need to make, maybe wiggling our fingers or our toes. Working our way onto one side if that feels good. If we feel like we need more time in final relaxation, always feel free to give yourself permission to stay there. Stay as long as you need. Working our way onto one side. And then making our way up into an easy seated, comfortable position. Stacking our spine tall. What new things, what new attitudes, what can we bring into this new world when we're finally free to explore it? What things are we going to take more gratitude and acknowledgement for? And what things are we going to let go? They don't help us, they don't serve us. Letting that peace resonate within our bodies. Taking a big breath in, reaching our hands out to the side and coming overhead. Palms together, exhaling as we come to our forehead. May our thoughts be kind. May our words be clear and kind. Coming to our hearts, feel love, be love, give love. Happy Monday.